Here's why this matters far beyond basketball. Clark's rise isn't just good news for Indiana, it's great news for the entire WNBA. For years, women's basketball fought for relevance, fighting uphill battles for TV coverage, fair pay, and respect. But because of Caitlin Clark, those battles suddenly felt winnable. More viewers meant higher revenue meant higher salaries, and higher salaries meant a healthier league for everyone involved. Players like Angel Reese, Nneka Ogwumike, and others demanding better pay were now standing on ground made possible by Clark herself. But now, we're left with one fascinating question that nobody can answer yet. What comes next? As of today, the Indiana Fever are officially America's #1 basketball team, drawing bigger audiences than many NBA teams. But is this sustainable long-term? Can Caitlin Clark keep breaking records at this astonishing pace? Therefore, any criticism aimed at Clark or the Fever quickly fell flat because the numbers spoke for themselves. Caitlin Clark's jersey sales alone were greater than the entire rest of the league combined. Her presence had led to the highest average attendance in WNBA history, with a 48% increase league-wide in just 1 year. Her scoring was electric, her playmaking jaw-dropping, and her competitive edge unmatched. But it wasn't just what she did during games, it was how she did it. Every three-pointer, every incredible assist, every impossible play made fans jump out of their seats and instantly go viral online. Therefore, fans started coming out in record numbers to watch the spectacle. Attendance at Fever home games exploded, with an increase of 39% from the previous season. But here's the crazy part. It's not just hype, it's reality. The numbers don't lie, and today you'll see exactly how Caitlin Clark single-handedly changed the WNBA forever, made history again, and why the entire basketball world is talking about nothing else. You're going to find out exactly how this happened, and trust me, the details will shock you. Therefore, the criticism began losing its power. Every negative narrative eventually collapsed under the sheer weight of undeniable success. Television networks, advertisers, arenas, all continued pouring resources into Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, recognizing the undeniable financial and cultural power she held. Caitlin Clark just did the impossible again, elevating the Indiana Fever from obscurity to America's #1 basketball team. But what does that actually look like in reality? Here's the payoff you've been waiting for. This season alone, the Indiana Fever shattered all expectations by securing an unprecedented 41 national television games. But here's the shocking truth. Networks weren't just handing them airtime because they liked Caitlin Clark. They did it because of one simple reason: viewership numbers were through the roof. Regular season Fever games drew audiences bigger than even the WNBA Finals. We're talking over 2 million viewers tuning in to watch Clark dominate, something unheard of before she stepped onto the court. She's taken the Indiana Fever from barely noticed to America's #1 basketball team.
Whether you like the Indiana Fever or not, whether you like Caitlin Clark or not, it has gotten to the point where we can no longer deny the fact that they are the biggest draw in the WNBA, and they proved that all of last season.
Critics are furious, rival teams are scrambling, and even arenas are changing locations just to keep up with her unstoppable popularity. However, the Caitlin Clark effect wasn't limited to Indiana alone. Soon, her fame started to spread nationwide. Fans from all across America began tuning into Fever games, causing television ratings to skyrocket. Before Caitlin Clark, regular season WNBA games rarely surpassed 500,000 viewers. But with Clark on the court, even regular season games were breaking 1 million viewers consistently. Every season, she returned stronger, more focused, and even more popular. Her performance continued to break records, defying expectations and silencing doubts. Her work ethic became legendary, her leadership unquestionable, and her impact undeniable. Therefore, rather than fading, her star power seemed to increase exponentially with each passing day.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just want to come and see her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball.
Caitlin Clark just did the impossible again. She's taken the Indiana Fever from barely noticed to America's #1 basketball team. But despite this undeniable success, rivalries still flared, especially her controversial matchups with Angel Reese. Yet, every time critics tried to diminish Clark's impact, they only fueled her popularity further. Fans rallied around her, inspired by her determination, talent, and genuine passion for the game. Therefore, instead of weakening her position, every attack only cemented Caitlin Clark's legacy even deeper into the fabric of American sports. Around Clark began shifting from questioning her legitimacy to acknowledging her greatness. But this shift wasn't universally accepted. Some fans and even players stubbornly refused to acknowledge Clark's unprecedented impact.
Give me Angel Reese, give me Caitlin Clark, because this has been box office, y'all. The young guns, the young stars have come to play. Angel at unrivaled training with Lisa, Leslie, and Caitlin. We all know that girl. She lives, breathes, eats, sleeps in the gym. So I am so excited to see that matchup, those two, because anytime they go up against each other, honestly,
Caitlin Clark draws massive viewership and other teams don't. Caitlin Clark averaged about 1.2 million viewers per game, and the rest of the league about 400 to 500,000.
However, while Angel Reese was generating headlines for her off-court drama, Clark remained laser-focused on the court. In head-to-head matchups, Clark consistently outperformed Reese.
Washington and Indiana set the single-game attendance record of 20,711 on September 19 Capital One Arena. The WNBA's average attendance last year was 9,807 fans, up 48%. And keep in mind, that was really one person that added those 3,000 fans on average.
The facts remained clear. Clark herself had repeatedly supported Reese, openly condemning any unfair criticism and calling for equal treatment for all athletes.
I don't think Angel should be criticized at all. No matter which way it goes, she should never be criticized for what she did. I think everybody knew there was going to be a little trash talk in the entire tournament. It's not just me and Angel. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of hers.
Her actions demonstrated maturity and leadership beyond her years, further solidifying her role as the WNBA's premier figure.
Let's get to the WNBA. And this sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever, who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league.
By this point, Caitlin Clark's impact was no longer limited to basketball alone. She had become a cultural icon. Her presence on the court meant packed arenas, record-breaking television viewership, massive merchandise sales, and increased salaries across the WNBA. In one single moment, the Indiana Fever went from a forgotten team to the talk of the sports world.
If I was the WNBA, I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlin Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say, 15 to 18 game Caitlin Clark package.
And that moment was the drafting of Caitlin Clark. But now, we're left with one fascinating question that nobody can answer yet. What comes next? As of today, the Indiana Fever are officially America's #1 basketball team, drawing bigger audiences than many NBA teams. But is this sustainable long-term? Can Caitlin Clark keep breaking records at this astonishing pace? Or will her impact eventually reach a peak, forcing the WNBA to adapt once again? Therefore, while we celebrate Caitlin Clark's historic achievements today, we also have to wonder, could this unprecedented success eventually create challenges down the line? And how will the league respond if it ever has to face life after Clark? One thing's for sure, as long as Caitlin Clark is on the court, all eyes will remain fixed firmly on her every move. So tell us, do you believe the WNBA is now permanently changed because of Caitlin Clark? Or is this success temporary and unsustainable? And that's exactly why the WNBA embraced her so fully. Because while critics worried about dependency, the league recognized something more important: opportunity. Caitlin Clark had given the WNBA a chance to become mainstream, to finally compete on equal footing with men's sports, and to secure a future of unprecedented financial stability.
We now know how many national games they got. The Indiana Fever is America's team, but the old WNBA fans are furious over it. They're mad. They're crying.
But the irony here was staggering. Even athletes from other sports, NBA legends, and prominent sports analysts like Stephen A. Smith started publicly endorsing Clark, recognizing her once-in-a-generation talent.
I didn't mention it in my cold open, but I'm going to mention it now, and that's Caitlin Clark herself of the WNBA.
By this point, Caitlin Clark's impact was no longer limited to basketball alone. She had become a cultural icon. Her presence on the court meant packed arenas, record-breaking television viewership, massive merchandise sales, and increased salaries across the WNBA. Just a few years ago, the Indiana Fever was a struggling WNBA franchise. They weren't just losing games, they were losing fans. Attendance was low, television coverage was almost non-existent, and the team had little presence in mainstream sports conversations. The Fever was close to irrelevant in women's basketball, but then something remarkable happened. In one single moment, the Indiana Fever went from a forgotten team to the talk of the sports world.
Broadcast this season, ooh-wee, big-time doubleheader. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they meet in the season opener.
Indiana Fever put this out, all eyes on us.
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale.
Caitlin Clark once again dominates WNBA national TV schedule.
The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.